things that really to do with how we have organized the first panel and how we can make use of it. So when we talk about the vision of Jusoor, I think it strikes me when I look around this room that one way to express really a vision for a better Syria in 2025 is that we see more people like these people who are represented in this room, representing the majority of the people of the country. What really differentiated us from a lot of the people in Syria today is that we somehow were fortunate to have a right education and the right exposure. And we had the ability to integrate into the world economy and compete effectively, and that made a huge difference in our lives, personal lives. Yet, as we integrated into our new homelands, we maintained our identity, our heritage, our love for the place, and our diversity. I guess our first speaker is a living testimony of someone who has successfully built a world-class company that I think everybody could be proud of, and I think he today can share that story and how he did it, and I think that's going to be very enlightening and very encouraging to a lot of people. When we look at Syria today, unfortunately, it is going the opposite way. It's going through a very troubling period, and it is, in fact, in my view, paying the price of 40 years of the wrong economic, social, and political policies. This is the reality. We are not here today if we had followed a fallow path. So if we want to make sure we don't end up like this again, I think we need to find a different path. What happened during the 40 years that passed is that we produced a generation that did not have access to the right education, and that is needed for today's world economy. And in fact, the system bred ignorance to a lot, and based on a lot of misinformation that was disseminated from the state. During the revolution that was called the Arab Revolution 1917, that was supposed to create an Arab kingdom and ended up dividing the Middle East into its present shape. I don't want to get into the politics. I'm just saying that these are some observations, and I want to really talk about the future, and I'm sure that when we talk about the future in terms of ideas, each one of us will agree on these simple things, that we all like to have a free, to live or to see Syria free to choose its political leaders and hold them accountable for their actions. To have all Syrians equal under the law and protected by it, to be economically prosperous, and to be socially diverse and inclusive, because that's the way Syria, otherwise Syria, I'm afraid, will lose its soul and its identity. Now, that violence has broken out. It's going to be extremely difficult and time-consuming to heal the wounds. So all we can do is maybe progress some ideas about, again, how we can frame the debate differently. And two things or three things that I'd like to share with you, and that is, one, it would be better for everyone if we were stuck to discuss ideas instead of discussing people. No debate can be concluded by I'm for or against a person, no matter who that person is. So I think we really need to talk about ideas and not people. We also need to remind ourselves that throughout history, civil war, everybody is a loser. There is no civil war where someone wins and someone loses. Everybody is a loser in a civil war. And where we are proud and we always talk about tolerance, the world has moved. Now we talk about acceptance of the other, not tolerance. Tolerance somehow implies that you're tolerating someone who's not as equal as you are. So we really have a lot of issues that need to be addressed. And those can only be addressed if we talk about education again, because what has happened has happened. And what we can do is talk about education going forward. And it's education really that helped me be who I am today, be able to debate ideas. And to be less narrow-minded, etc. I mean, education is really not necessarily something that if someone gets educated, he will be successful. successful or who will be open-minded. But certainly the lack of education ensure the opposite.